Oh, he's ready. He doesn't care.
I'm ready. You mean you? I'm ready.
He said, I'm ready. I don't care. Let's get started.
I could be on time and lose, and I could be on time and win. That's how I go.
Oh God, it's cliche little lines today. He has been on something today, people. I want y'all to know. He's been on one. He's always on one. Look at him.
Hold on. Don't give the audience this stuff. You don't give them the root of it. Give them the root of it, though.
Look at it. It's that something in that water. You know, somebody hit the water like that. Like, water is not that good. Look at his face.
Right. Hey, actually, no, we gotta introduce the show. That's on you, though.
You know, that was a little pregame. Thank y'all for coming back to the pod world. It's another day of Unbiased Sports Talk. It's me and Ron. Got a couple of other fellas coming in, running late, like Eddie Kane. So, Ron, this topic this evening, I think, would be a very good topic. I feel like it's one of those topics where you are coming ready and prepared. I feel like I'm just going to step out of the way. I'm going to say a little bit, then I'm going to move on.
I mean, there has to be someone here in order for you to step up the way, man. So we'll start there.
Yeah, it might be just me and you to be continued. You dig? Is there anything that you want to address while we are here, sports-wise? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You have a participant.
Mm-hmm. Until the wide receiver guy wants to come, Mr. Who got a lot to say, we never got to take on about Dion in Jackson State.
Myself? Ron, you talking about myself?
You talking about you?
Talk about you.
Well, I think in the beginning I kind of had mixed feelings, mixed reactions. I think my first reaction was very emotional. I felt a little misled a little. I thought that, you know, I was being sold a little bit on him building up the HBCUs. And after I took a couple steps back and I look at it and I realized that, you know, everybody has an opinion about somebody else's life. And what he did for the HBCUs in 3 years is amazing. That what he did was very hard to do. First and foremost, to go into any program and turn it around, let alone the impact he did in the blueprint he laid down to show you, you know, how to come into a HBCU and kind of use your resources based on where you come from. So when he went to make his decision to Colorado, at first I was kind of like, how you gonna leave? But I can't sit here and tell a man what to do. I know that all coaches sell their players on coming to play for them. And there's been plenty of coaches that have done the same thing. He got a better opportunity. And I also look at it as he did a lot for when he was there. I can't be mad because he left. He did amazing things while he was there, from faculty to building revenue to new structures and buildings and programming funds. And I'm pretty sure laid down that blueprint for other HBCUs to learn from. Now, are they going to be Prime? Are they going to have the same energy as Prime? No. But I kind of step back and say that I don't know what he's coaching for. I don't know if it's just for HBCUs, is it for opportunity? Because he's also broken another barrier by getting a Black HBCU coach directly to the next level and bringing in other HBCU coaches up to a higher level, and might have a pipeline to bring in players from the HBCU to D1 schools to get transferred, that might be an opportunity to also help the HBCUs get more exposure, because some of them wasn't even getting opportunities to be looked at. So I can't knock that man for making the decision to leave, because like I just heard the other day, he said when he talked to the athletic director said, could you at least give me 2 years? And he gave him 3. So that's my opinion on it. I mean, I really, in the beginning, I was kind of like in my feelings about it, but as I look at it, you take a breath, step back and look at it and say, that man's doing what's best for him. And he's still in a position to be a gatekeeper to help others.
Yeah. I had some time to rethink about it too. And yes, he definitely showed that there's a blueprint. And he also showed that there's good competition at HBCUs also, because for the bigger bowl games after the conference when they play, he's lost yet again to the MEAC. So that's saying a lot, because he's the one that's getting all these 4-star, these big time commits from these big time schools, and even when you are going out of your conference play and playing people from the MEAC, you still don't have enough to beat them. You know what I mean? But again, it's just showing that there's talent out there to beat what you already got.
I agree.
So I don't got no real thing about that.
What was your first take when y'all recorded the first time? What was your first take on it?
I didn't.
He didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I didn't.
He was like, "What you waiting on?"
I didn't like it because it was when he was speaking for all HBCUs, but what you're going to provide to Jackson State, a lot of these other schools do not have the powers that you got. So when you're persuading people to come play at HBCUs, it's not the same that what you're about to provide.
But he also asked former Black stars to no longer take position coaches roles at other big schools and go to be a head coach at HBCU. And we did start seeing that trend. Like I said, especially he mentions Eddie George. Like, he went in Tennessee State. He stayed within that community that loved him as a Titan.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's good to see that becoming a trend. It's not going to happen overnight because people are already under contract and there's other barriers in the way. But to start right now, he did show what happens when we can't put something behind the community. He brought in stars. He brought in his partnerships. He leveraged partnerships. The only other school that had more uniform changes than them was Oregon.
Mm-hmm. I think he should have kept a little bit about Jackson State private about what they wasn't trying to give him. I think he should have kept that.
He did. I think a lot
when
of
did you hear
it didn't really come directly from him.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of leaks about this, and this, but I mean, directly from Dion, did we really hear anything specifically? He's been giving them props from his words. The AD, the athletic director, he didn't say nothing bad about them. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of factors that might go into what he was trying to do, percentages of probably what he should have been making, what he was getting paid, for the things he had to do, basically paying his own staff. There was a lot of challenges that people are not aware that he had to go through, which, how long do you really want to go there? Then let alone the environment. How many times did Dion and his family get robbed in Jackson, Mississippi? Do you think you still want to sit around in that environment? So you think he just want to sit there and be in there for the next 20, 30 years of that?
Right.
There's a lot of factors that play into this. So who's to say that he still cannot help from a distance?
Probably can. And granted, too, the man was doing on a bad foot at that. Man had two toes removed.
Yep.
Still out there running around coaching, doing what he got to do.
8 toes down.
8 toes.
Shannon Sharp got on him, bro. Oh my goodness. Now that's what Shannon Sharp said to him. Shannon Sharp got on him real quick, but it was in a brotherly way. It was funny.
Yeah. That I saw a little bit of that pod but today actually watching a little bit of it, and your brother also try your best not to embarrass you or put you in too many.
I mean, because you got to think too, like it's all about the community connection. Because you saw the same kind of exchange, well, not the same kind of exchange, but the exchange happened between him and Skip. When Skip came to him sideways.
Yeah, real sideways.
I mean, number one, you don't compare a quarterback to a tight end. Number one.
I don't even know why you take it that personal to even compare him personally, let alone you're right, you don't compare those two positions.
He talked about the man, personal hero out here. He talked about Tom Brady.
It hit home.
It hit home because, it's people you don't talk about. Kind of like how the pod starts acting up when somebody mentions LeBron.
Oh, I mean, the Black and Mild comes out, the Hennessy, the betting, the Mountain Dew cases. It gets real serious over there. But nah, it was when I saw that man take his Skip. When he took his glasses down and started saying Skip, he was getting real serious. Like he was supposed to lose his job. Because
he challenged that man's character live on screen. Like he tried to say he was like a bum.
Like I'm better than you. I mean, I don't know. Skip might.
When Richard Sherman eat the Skip, you already knew it was bad.
I watched that the other day too.
And his resume ain't Shannon Sharp's yet. Yeah. But he definitely has a great resume.
Ryan Clark got him. I think Ryan Clark got a career off of him, didn't
he? Yeah, more than likely. He got picked up because he just intellectually broke that man down.
Did he?
Had him speechless.
Sherman came at him like, come on, bro.
Oh, man, Sherman. People forget how smart this man is. He graduated from Stanford in 3 years while playing football.
Started hitting Skip with words Skip didn't even know.
He dug into the vernacular, not the vocabulary.
Vernacular.
He's like,
that's another word for vocabulary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People don't talk about that.
Ron, like, say it again. I got to write that one down.
Yeah, now I
write down.
Ron, me too. I don't know that rendition. He bringing out certain, it's SAT words over here.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're waiting for a certain individual to join, but I was just informed he's not gonna make it tonight.
Well, keep the party going.
Of course, I thought that would have been a funny one. I mean, you can keep that one in the tuck for real.
I don't want to waste this topic on just us three.
I don't need I feel like it's a good one-on-one kind of battle.
But
you need two mediators. You need two people to kind of sit back. Hold. Come on. Hey, for them. You.
Did you text that man? What did he say?
I asked him if he's gonna be here. He said no, he can't. But I got a replacement topic for y'all.
Okay.
So there's a show called Last Chance U. In this show, there is a coach pretty much trying to break down to this player what's going on. He pretty much says to the player, he said, look, if we're all going this way, whether it's right or wrong, we're all going to go that way together. If you're going this way and it's right, you could be right, but you're going to be by yourself. But in essence, he broke down to this player that this player's talent level was above his coaching. He's used to having kids that are, scrappier, trying to get theirs, kind of out the mud, not really the most super talented. And he's made them into this powerhouse within the JUCO world. So my question comes, are some players uncoachable, or are some coaches not at a level to coach every player?
Ooh.
That could be both ways. I mean, it could be both. It could be both.
Yeah.
There are some coaches who are dictators and they might not want to adjust their system for certain players. But if you want to win, sometimes you got to play to your players' abilities. But there are some players who probably just are uncoachable. Like you said, even if it's wrong, I remember being that running back that wanted to maybe cut back too soon and I should have followed the hole. and your coaches just tell you, if you don't follow what I tell you to do, I don't care how fancy you are, hit the hole. So you might see something, and if you don't get it, it's an excuse for them to tell you you didn't follow what I told you to do. So me personally, there's some players who just have an attitude, who don't want to listen. There's some players who, like, what would you take? Talent over a person who's don't want to listen, who might be a cancer, but a player who's going to give you everything and work hard, but eventually his ability might not be the same as his, but his effort was going to make others better.
So when I think of this question, right, I almost think about the child who is beyond their teacher's recognition as far as schoolwork. And because they're bored, they may act out. They may, distract others, because everything you're doing to them is right now is remedial. It doesn't entertain them. It's almost like, those players who wanted to go straight to the league, but then they implemented that rule to go to college, and that actually stunted their growth basketball-wise. So you had guys who went overseas because they didn't want to get locked into a system. Because some guys do feel getting locked into that system of college and that way of playing does stunt their first year or so in the league. So you got to think, could a guy like LeBron go to college and really thrive in that system when he was league ready? Like I said, we have an example of Carmelo, who was also league ready, but he took that year at Syracuse national championship.
I can see the aspect to that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be a little different than them being uncoachable? Because
that's
I
what
would
I
say,
can that player be above that coach's expertise? Like how everybody kind of looked. I'll give you Eric Spoelstra. When LeBron was there, did you look at him as a real coach?
I feel like he was being coached by a real coach and groomed by a real coach. And he had the backing, but, maybe he just wasn't. He became a good coach.
Yeah, because all you heard at first was he worked his way up from the video room.
Like the coach that was coaching him.
Yeah, at the same time, yes. So, but when it came down to it, now we have him with guys like Jimmy Butler, and he has Jimmy Butler into a situation where previous coaches passed up on him because they can't work with him. He's not meshing with the team. Because how many teams was Jimmy Butler on within like 3 years?
Was it just the coaches or was it the players too? Jimmy Butler was on some teams where he felt like the players wasn't giving him enough. This Kobe-ness was coming out to me. It was kind of like, bro, y'all playing soft, or y'all not giving me enough effort. And it was him getting into it with the players, just well enough with the coaches. And I feel like, yes, Jimmy was getting that stigma of uncoachable.
But that comes down to my analogy again of the child who was advanced further than their environment. What do they usually do? Act out. What did Jimmy do? Challenge the first team with the second team, beat them, and then they put that out there. He didn't put it out there, but they put it out there.
Well,
because if
you're not challenged, it doesn't mean it's always a negative thing when you act out. No, you could take the opportunity to learn more.
But what did he do? He took that and he went to a new team. And then that team stock rose again. He went to another team. That team stock rose again. Where's he at? NBA Finals. He has a team looking like contenders.
Jimmy doesn't get along well with other stars.
We can say that. Did he get along with D Rose?
Derrick Rose?
Yeah, would you consider Derrick Rose a star?
Yeah, he got along with Derrick Rose.
He got along with Derrick Rose because Derrick Rose got the dog. Derrick Rose got that dog that I think that most people know. Hurt Derrick Rose or healthy Derrick Rose, he got that right there. And I think Jimmy's one of them type of people. If you don't have this, it's a problem.
He can't respect you.
Yeah.
But Jimmy wasn't Jimmy yet when he was with when he had Derrick Rose.
So he say he might have got, but he was, but he knew at that time it wasn't his turn to drive. When he got there, it was D Rose's team.
Okay.
So I mean, so like, I bring that question up because, like I said, we've seen guys who were just super talented at all levels, and they may just not mesh with what's going on with a team, and that may or may not hurt them when it comes down to it because their talent is going to be there regardless. Yes, there are guys that work hard that can have an opportunity to challenge that talent, but overall, it's rare when talent doesn't beat hard work. I would say the main person I think of he was hard work is Kobe. There was nobody who was going to outwork him along with his talent and natural instinct. But he didn't have all the measurables. He didn't have the highest vert. He didn't have all these other things. He wasn't like, he was,
When
of course,
when I think about this topic a little deeper, I think about mental awareness and mental illness. And I think that, are we really thinking about an athlete who is so talented that he's not being challenged? Or does a lot of these athletes have mental disabilities and they don't know how to channel their own energy, so they might act out? I don't think that that's not being coachable, because sometimes I think that it takes a certain coach to reach a certain person. Every coach doesn't work well. Every player doesn't work well with a coach. Every player doesn't work well with a system. So it's so many variables to what you're saying. I don't disagree that.
It's a great question.
Don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just think it's a lot of different layers to both. Remember, I said both in the beginning. There could be some coaches who don't know what they have and don't know what to do with.
Of course.
And there's some players that don't want to listen, and then there's some players who might struggle, like you're saying, not even academically, but for real. Like, this is you're not challenging me enough. Like, do more, but it's more variables.
Yeah, I think Ron, as a resident coach, I wanted to get your input for real. Go ahead.
So, it's a great question, because you do have coaches that are just not capable of I wouldn't say coaching the kid, but getting through to him. I think there's a difference of coaching him and then getting through to him. Should I break that down?
No,
I got you.
Right. So when you're saying that there's a kid that his talent is just so far above the coach, I'm not going to dismiss it, obviously, but I just feel like this: coaches are coaches for a reason. Every coach has something to land on you. You may not agree with 90% of the stuff that they're saying, but there's like a good 10% that's like, you know what, because being in the coaching world now, there's a lot of pampered kids. Like when he was saying mental, I was thinking pampered. Like I tell my kids, I said, there's no red carpet here effect. No red carpet.
Yeah, that's a great point of this different generation of kids and how you coach kids who are real privileged.
Right. Because like I was, my bad, Mom. What's up?
Yeah, I was just going to pretty much say, like, I always look at the measure of a coach by how he uses a single player. So if you have one player who pretty much is heads and tails above the rest, and you lean on that one player and like certain levels of the game, Like for instance, like a Pop Warner, you got one kid that does everything, and without him, everything's lost. That kind of measures you as a coach to me.
Yeah,
But
I don't. I see that
but
players
sometimes
beyond.
in part one, you might have just that one player. I literally just been watching these part one kids, and bro, you might have one player, or you might I watched my son play D line, and he's the smallest D lineman out there. And I'm looking at his team like, no disrespect to his team. It's some other boys that should be playing on the line. But sometimes you gotta put your dogs where they gotta go because you only got what you got.
All right, I'll give you a thing though.
Don't get me started on that because I seen that Phil too. Don't get me started, Javon, on that because I got a lot of problems with that thing. A lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, well, when will you get that dog out of your kids? Because at some point, there's a player that can be unlocked from a coach. But are you a coach that's able to bring that? Of course, some kids don't have it.
But sometimes,
let's be honest, some people just don't have it at all. Some people don't have that the drive to bring that out of themselves. But there are people
who personality trait. I think it's a personality trait more so to want to learn and to be a sponge and to be coachable.
But I also think your peers can unlock it too, though.
Yeah, they can.
You know,
like I said,
peers
being around certain players who are good, yeah.
Right. But when you said the question, though, you know the first thing that started coming to my mind. Well, I'll say the first thing. This is real fresh. You know how YouTube is. They send out little shorts videos, and I think it's the I'm Athlete Radio. Shady McCoy was talking about how he sees how Eric Benet doesn't have a job.
I didn't look at that joint the other day. I saw it pop up and I ain't watched it yet.
And he was saying about how he talks to the players, right? And just follow me, Javon, gladly cut me off. That's funny. But anyways, like when he said that, all these other coaches came to my mind on how, especially in the NFL wants NBA coaches. Majority of NBA coaches are player friendly. They're player coaches. Majority of them, right? That's why most of the rehires or new hire is a player that just played or he was a former player. That's why the Eric Spoelstra is such a rare thing, to see someone work from the video down because they're getting a player because they want. It's almost like boxing too. I've heard boxers say too. And if I'm gonna have a boxer trainer, he needs to box. I don't want no guy who's not a boxer.
Who never had the experience.
Yeah, who never had the experience, right? But at the same time, using Javon, if that's your mental block, that's not on the coach. That's on you. About your mental block, what you are not allowing into you to be better, because another side story, right? Popovich took over as the USA team and they were complaining about his coaching style. And I'm like, this is the same guy who took countless teams. But again, the NBA is player friendly. My last one, and I'll be quiet. When we talk about Bill Belichick, every time we talk about Bill Belichick, especially these players, they always attach Tom. Well, Tom made it happen. Tom do this. When I hear people say that, they're discrediting what Bill actually does for the team. Because again, Tom has 7 rings. I could make the case 4 out of the 7 the defense did. And
I can say probably 5 out of the 7.
Or even 5 out of 7. And he's taking dudes that I watched college ball. He took dudes I would never even thought that'd be like, whoa, like, wow, like Patrick Chung. I watched Patrick Chung at Oregon. I don't think Patrick Chung was going to be doing the things that he was doing. I watched the McCourties. I did not think the McCourties be doing what they were doing.
They did what they did well, and he would just put you in what you did well.
Right.
Put you in that position.
Local dude, Kyle Arrington. Kyle Mall. He played at Gwynn Park. He was a year before us and everything. Prior to that, he was at Philadelphia. He made some noise and got some bread because of New England. So it's like don't get me wrong, that's a great question. But I feel like in this state that we are in, man, there's just so many pampered kids. There's just so many. Like, because
people don't want to do that.
Especially because the internet and social media is making things such an easy platform for these kids just to like say no to this and say no to that, and I'm gonna go do this, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie, the transfer portal pisses me off.
Is it more so just pamper kids, or is it more so just this era also where coaches can't grill you and get in your face like they used to and actually reach you the way they used to?
It's a lot. You mean, even what you said, you mean, I agree. Like, there's a mental awareness thing too, you know?
Because I grew up in that era, but I struggled with a coach probably doing that to my child. Even though I'm like, nah, one side of me is like, nah, treat him the same way I was treated. But then also I'm looking at it like, yeah, I wish you would put your hands on my child or like grab him. So coaches they don't treat you the same way that we grew up. They're not grilling you or grabbing your face or really getting in your business, because some of these kids they'll break them.
That's true. And
they're soft. Not to be real wrong, they soft. So
I think it comes down to the parents. I think we talked about it before. They're not allowing other adults to check their kids.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go on. My apologies. Go on.
No, I would just say, because when it comes down to it, some people was like, well, no one's going to tell my child what to do but me. And in that you just took all the power out of the
away
coach.
from the coach.
Yeah.
So I'm not that type of person. I'm more so like, look, just don't put your hands on the child.
Oh, yeah.
We fine. But no, that man mess up, man, getting his ass on the sideline. He ain't doing his job, and you ain't hear his name in a few minutes. Call him out. Like, I'm with all of that. I'm with making him a man. You feel me? Hold him accountable.
Yeah.
Look, just the abuse that we might have been able to endure. You feel me? Some of that we parents can't handle.
Right. I'll take it to one thing about verbal, because the physical thing I'm not gonna say it's not happening. I'm pretty sure there's a coach out there who should not be touching the kid, and he's touching the kid, because I feel like now as adults, now in the era we're in, your verbal is just as good as a punch. But it doesn't need to be one of those things where you're making him this small too. I've heard a coach say 2 years ago, I couldn't believe he said it. He said, until I tell you to speak, you can speak, because right now, from what you have shown me, you know nothing about the game. I won't go that far to say that a kid knows nothing, because me personally, now I'm gonna speak for myself, I need to know a little bit something about you in the game so I can help, we can meet together at the same spot.
I mean, so sometimes when you're frustrated, things come out, or sometimes, man, it needs to come out like that, and you need to hear, maybe sometimes these kids need to be humbled, and they think they know what sometimes they really think they know too much.
It's true, but it's true though. But the also thing is too is I've just been noticing around the world, and you still got to recognize your audience.
Yeah.
The kid might not find it a problem, but the teammate might find it a problem. And he can report it to the mom, and then the mom's calling the school, and boom, all the coaches are gone off of a conversation.
But that comes to straight leadership. Knowing your audience is understanding the basic leadership skills is what? Being a motivator, understanding the psychological aspects of people, how they like to be motivated. Okay, right. You got one kid, you might motivate him with stats. You know, like you did this. You get another 100 yards. You got some kids who's motivated by future options and opportunities. You know, everybody's motivated by different things. So as a leader, you have to be a motivator, and you have to find ways and understand human behavior and people. So you have to understand psychology as a good coach. That's what makes great coaches able to coach men, boys, high school. You have to understand your audience, like you clearly just said, Ron. Understanding your audience means understanding the environment you're in. If it's younger teens, you need to understand how to motivate younger teens. If it's older men, and I've seen college coaches come to the pros and struggle because they don't know how to actually coach men. Mm-hmm. They've been talking to kids for a long time, and it don't translate well. Because now, how do you motivate grown men who looking at you like, I get paid more than you?
That's true. I mean, but you're right too, though. You got to have the real conversation. I had a real conversation. Well, I have a real conversation with my boys all the time. I tell my boys all the time. I said, look, guess what? I'm gonna talk to you as a man because guess what? You could get any of these girls in this school pregnant, and now you in a man's world. You know what I mean? So I remember one time I asked them, and it made me approach things different. After it was after a game, and I asked the kids. I said, look, I asked all the kids, and I said, I will not feel no certain type of way. Raise your hands if you want to play college ball on the next level. And only half of them raised their hands up. But that was enough to know how I need to operate. And that's enough. And I let them know that lets you also know that you can have a conversation on your own time about how some of your teammates are moving, because they are not on that same mission that you are, and that plays a part to your success. You need him to be something or care about something for you to go where you need to go.
That leads you to another point. Are they playing for themselves? Are they playing somebody else wants them to play? Is this something they really want to do?
Listen, I try to figure that out all the time. I don't have a concrete answer.
But, I mean, for every player, it's going to be different. So you got to be able to coach all these men who have different motivations and have them kind of motivated and led to one way, which is coaching is not easy. It's like, it's not easy. You got one-on-one time, you can sit there and focus on one person. But when you got a football team or basketball team, baseball team, 15, 11, 20, 30 personalities, you your best is trying to find some type of connection with these kids. I mean, male, female, regardless of who it is, and relate to them. Be relatable to them, be able to motivate them, but also be a role model that they look up to be like most of the coaches who transcend well were almost like, listen, I'm gonna give you the real life. And like, they almost come back to their coach like, man, that's like my father, or that was like my mother. It wasn't just my coach. Like, I can call you like for the next 30 years of my life because you planted something in me or impression in me that I feel like I can go to you for anything.
Right. And that's where I also think about going back to the question about, is this kid's talent so good that I can't talk to him about stuff off the court, off the field? Because there's things off the field, off the court that plays a part to your game also.
Yeah, Marlon.
No, you could talk to them. You can break it down as a man, like man to man. But I just say, like, as far as, because it's like most, like, a reason why somebody would end up in a JUCO. They may not really want to be there, but it may just be the option they have at the moment. It's their stepping stone, and their mentality may just be that at that, like, oh, this is not really where I'm supposed to be. But I'll take on your tutelage, but if I really don't agree with what you got going on, I'm already gone in my mind. It's just I gotta get out of here physically now.
Well, what season was that where that coach said that?
This is season 2 right now. They just released.
Okay, I gotta watch that because
it's the basketball one.
When did it come from the head coach or the position coach?
The head coach. No, this is on the basketball one.
Like, it came from the head coach.
Yeah, the head coach. He got the ball head. Like, he's a real with his play.
You might have to make me check that one out, Marlon, since you got
last chance you.
I seen one of the seasons about football, but I did never seen one about basketball.
It started out, it has about 4 seasons of football.
Yeah. And
then it goes into this 2 seasons of basketball, because the last season of football, they just had a lot going on with that one. Yeah.
I think it's
they even had it might be 4. It might be 5. 5 good years. Those guys went through a lot. And it's a guy on YouTube, Flemlo Raps. He used to follow the whole season afterwards. And he's a great storyteller outside of that. But
that was a good question, man. How you delivered it made me really think about different aspects from just the perspective of a coach and the perspective of the players. And you got both on each side. I feel like you got good coaches who know how to relate, and you got some coaches who might struggle, and it's just my way or the highway, but they don't know how to relate, and they're dictator type of coaches. And it might work in some instance with some players, and you might be successful in both ways. But as the athlete perspective, you know, there are some athletes who are sponges, and they're gonna take as much tutelage and knowledge from every level they at, regardless if they even think that this is below them, you know. And then there's some players who think they know everything, and they just uncoachable.
So, I kind of took it into when I did some coaching as well. I would talk, you know, I would see, all right, who really wants it? Because those are going to be the kids that want extra work. The ones that just do what they've already signed up for, you're here, and I congratulate you. Thank you for showing up, but you didn't work out. They were like, what? No, like you did it what everybody else did. So that's not really anything special.
You gotta want it by yourself.
Yeah, you gotta want it. Like, so you just went to gym in school, like say it's a high school kid. You went to gym in school, you went to practice, you hit the weights with the team. After that, what else did you do? Did you do some push-ups at home? Did you run at home? Did you, come in early to practice and start getting ready? Because 9 out of 10 times, practice is not killing you. It's ingraining in you after a certain point what you got to do after they've gotten you to a physical point, but practice is not killing you.
I feel like my son is a 10-year-old kid, and sometimes I have to get on him about, hey, why don't you go dribble today for 30 minutes? Why don't you go work on your personal craft without somebody telling you? And that's just generally like school. Yeah. Why don't you go read? Why you wait for somebody to always tell you to do something? But I started to see that click. And kids don't like being embarrassed. So if your kid if they really about that life, I notice when my son hits that football field, he's serious. He don't want to be embarrassed. Oh, yeah. So he definitely gonna do them push-ups then. Like off season, you slack up a little bit, but I'm like in the off season is what you are being made. That's when you are being made right there, not just during the season.
And man, I do not like his son's team.
Hey, don't do that.
But you know what? I got respect. I'm gonna be quiet. But I have my.
It took me a long time to get the respect because as a new parent and going into this was new for me, and I my expectations. They wasn't being met fully at the time, but I had to start looking at. I'm expecting these coaches to be professionals. They're volunteering. They're trying their best.
They get it.
And I might not see eye to eye on all their X's and O's, but I like how they handle the kids. I like them as coaches, as men raising young men. You feel me? And look, I'm not coaching, so I can't dictate what should be done, what play should be ran. I ain't gonna get into that.
I'm not gonna say nothing either. You don't say nothing, I'm not gonna say nothing. Because I seen enough.
That's a whole other podcast. You want to have a podcast about how coaches are coaching in DMV and this little league, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, another time. Hey, but here's something like a little bonus question, and I'll keep it quick. It kind of ties back into someone's superior talent, and you can't say nothing to him because he's just so super talented. What player, no matter what sport, you feel that he's overrated? He kind of gets under your skin.
LeBron James. Huh? Sorry. Did you finish your question yet?
You're talking about just in general in the sport?
Mine is quick.
Go ahead.
Mine was quick. I'm done. Go ahead.
Well, no, Ma, who are you?
No, go ahead. You said it's quick. Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you.
I literally just emptied my mind when I was ready to listen to hear what you
said. You finally empty your mind. Shut up. Ooh.
I like how you said that. I emptied my mind. Go ahead. That means you need to go ahead now.
He said, who is overrated?
Who do you feel that is overrated and it kind of like, and this person kind of gets under your skin?
It gets under my skin.
If that's too strong of a word, because I didn't want to use pissed off, but there's someone I want to say right now. Because when you
go ahead, fire it off. Go ahead.
When you ask that question, he immediately come to my mind.
You got one in the chamber. Might as well let it go.
What'd you say?
I said Lomachenko.
No, I don't think he's overrated. I'm actually saying that live. I was very wrong about Lomo.
In the beginning, you wasn't feeling him.
I wasn't feeling it, but I'm very wrong. That boy wicked. That boy's pivot is crazy.
Angles.
But Ma, who you is it?
Joel Embiid.
Ooh.
To my face, I was like,
ooh. Why?
Because he can easily drop 40 a night if he does it.
You want to be a guard.
If he literally would stay in the post, he could be a 40 and 20 center. And he's not.
Had the mentality to have that.
He could literally make 5 baskets a quarter. It's 5 dunks a quarter, 5 layups a quarter. That's 40 points.
Defense, like literally.
He literally should.
You take
because he can stretch.
Yeah,
I feel you on that.
I think he tries to shoot so many threes. Like I said, I could say the 3 ball is overrated because, like I said, that's one of the main reasons LeBron passed Jordan. Like literally, Draymond Green has more 3-pointers made than Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan didn't shoot the 3 ball like that. But all right, who's your person?
It's Jalen Ramsey.
May you please taste the soup. My man got it.
No. Like literally, like he got exposed a lot at that Super Bowl.
Not even a Super Bowl. What is he really good at?
But that's the thing that pisses me off, Javon. Because if you think about it, right, he is a 6'2" corner. He's a track star. The boy do got ball skills.
Yeah, bounce too.
But when I watch him, I don't know. Sorry, Coach Mills is on. I know my name is up. I don't know what fucking technique he be using. It's because he be messing up on 6th grade level shit that makes no fucking sense.
He don't use great technique. He uses ability. He's playing off more of his ability than pure technique, and he gets away with that.
And see, this is the thing too that gets me about the NFL, because NFL has structure, all this other shit, right? And I was talking to one of my boys off air, long as I was talking with his air and everything. One thing I need to do better on, I'm gonna say it's live on air, is being dismissive and being discrediting other errors before this one. So that's my apology. I need to applaud the errors before this one because they laid down the blueprint on how to go about the position. So let me start off there. So with all that being said, once upon a time, there was a dude named Antonio Cromartie. Antonio Cromartie's measurables is damn near the same. So, and he's from Florida State, just like you. So that is the guy where it's like, I'm going to be that and plus some. To me, that's a tie.
I think Cromartie's a better cover corner and Jalen's more physical.
I think he would have a long career if you move him to safety. Since you want to keep your eyes in the backfield. You want to keep your eyes in the backfield so bad, move to safety.
That wouldn't be bad for him. I mean, he moves all around the field anyway, too.
I think it'd be great because now if you put him at safety, that he'll be like Derwin James, honestly. And it's not to say that Derwin James is bad. I think Derwin James is great. It's just that I think between the both of them, I think Jalen has more ball skills than Derwin.
Yeah, because I think being that he played corner for a longer period of time at a high level, that's definitely going to make him a better, has better ball skills. But I think him transitioning into safety should be good because he's already been moved all around the defense. He's over here in the slot. He's over here playing the small linebacker. He's playing back here corner. He's moving around.
Mhm.
And the fact that he's a great football player, we're judging him on pure DB technique, but he's still a good football player.
Mhm.
For the most part, he got everything he did to be good.
Shout out to Pat P because he's still doing it. Pat P still balling. He may not have the numbers for it, but I'm watching Pat P. Shout out to Pat P. Pat P fundamental boy. Fundamentals is crazy.
Yeah, studying that tape. Fellas, that was good, man. I mean,
Great question, Mark.
good question, Ma. Had me
Man.
thinking, different aspects of the coin. Not really a wrong or right answer for the
It's
most
not.
part.
Yeah, it just brings in the aspects of the mind.
Nah,
You know,
definitely.
something for the next part too, because we could talk about how LeBron's uncoachable.
That's what I was, that's kind of why I jumped into. We talking about uncoachable and then overrated. So, yeah, let coaches coach on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
Fellas,